Greetings, friends. My name is Dreyfus Xano, and today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to share something with you about myself. Seeing as how this month is Autism Awareness Month, I wanted to share with you something personally about myself. I learned about 2 years ago I have a condition called Asperger syndrome, or in other words, a small case of autism. So I wanted to take a few minutes right now to share with you a little bit about autism and things that I have come to learn about autism. I'm going to be looking off to the left here because I have a list of things that I want to go through, so that'll explain why I'm doing that. So to explain about autism, Asperger's, is that Asperger's is sort of a thing that affects the mind. It's not necessarily a disease. It's more like a mental condition that you get when you're born. As a kid, sometimes a kid with autism will not develop their milestones that a child usually does when growing up, like maybe reading or speaking or walking. It can differ. It can differ on so many levels because autism can manifest itself in a number of totally different ways. Like on one end of the spectrum, there is low functioning autism where you need somebody to be with you 24/7. And then on the other end, as in my example here, there's high functioning autism where this is an example because I can't always verbalize my words. You have me on the high end of the high-functioning autism because there's some social cues I've probably missed growing up. There are a few things. It's usually awkward for me when I'm hugging a friend or a relative. And there are some other things which I'll be explaining here in just a moment. One thing, autism usually gives people they're hypersensitive to something, maybe to sound, maybe to sight, maybe to touch, and they need to sometimes stimulate themselves, maybe rocking back sort of in this motion, or maybe listening to a sound, having any unique smell, or just smelling something, or having to listen to something, or maybe just needing to be hugged or something of that manner, something like that, in order to stimulate themselves. Because autism manifests itself so differently, I've learned something from one of my friends that helped diagnose me 2 years ago. If you meet one person with autism, you've met one person with autism because it manifests itself so differently. If you meet me and you meet somebody else with autism, it's going to be totally different. Also, too, usually with people with autism, focus usually on one hobby or trait. They could talk your head off forever on something. As an example, for me, I've had a few things, which I'll explain here. Growing up, I really loved to play Magic the Gathering, and I still do. And also, this here is called a poultice sliver. Growing up, too, I really liked playing sliver decks, and I loved playing it. That's like the only deck that I could play, despite people hating, oh, sliver decks aren't that good and everything. And then also here, I also play at a place called Laser Quest. It's a laser tag arena. Growing up in like junior high and high school, I could never really get into sports like soccer or basketball or anything like that. So for me, my sport was Laser Quest, playing laser tag. Going into those laser tag arenas, I just enjoyed playing it so much. I just became a totally different person. I was just in a zone, and anytime I played, I just had to be the best. I had to always be the top scorer. So that was always a thing for me. And then eventually, as you've seen with my channel, I do play World of Warcraft. I am an Alliance human warrior, level 90. Growing up, I started playing the game, and I played the game so much that I just had to focus on it. I even missed some assignments, missed some tests on occasion, because I had to play it so much. And eventually, as WoW evolved, I evolved as well, hypothetically speaking. I changed so much as a person after learning how to quest and learning how to interact with other people. And I still play WoW to this day. I've enjoyed it for what it was, and just fight the trolls and the trade chat and everyone spamming the Thunder Furies and everything like that, but I digress. WoW is a really great game. For me also, too, I have a unique ability to listen to a song over and over again, and it can still be interesting to me, and I don't get tired of it. There have been times where I've gone onto YouTube, I've listened to like hour-long mixes of nightcore, dubstep. Sometimes it's just been one song, like just one song over and over, and that can be a trait. Sometimes it can't. So that's just me for this example. For people also with autism, they think really differently, thinking outside the box essentially. Like I've said, my hobbies are unique. What I would enjoy is vastly different from somebody else. I happen to like Pokemon, playing the game, the cartoon. I like Yu-Gi-Oh, the cartoon. I haven't really played the card game all that much, but I enjoy the cartoon for what it is. I happen to enjoy Power Rangers, the show, despite it being incredibly cheesy and everything. And it's things like that. Other people with autism will probably have a hobby of something else completely different. Like I heard somebody else have an intense hobby of trucking, or maybe cooking, or building a computer, or coding. So it could be incredibly different too. Let's see here. Also with me too, I have become a WoW machinimator, trying to create cool music videos, shorts. I've been trying to create things for my channel where I can get more subscribers and things of that nature, but it's been hard for me because I personally don't know how to network with other machinimators. Like, I've personally been inspired by Oxhorn, by Cranius, Gigi, Nim. The list can go on, and sorry if I don't mention somebody else, but there have been a ton of other people that I've wanted to network with and collaborate with, but I haven't known how to exactly do that. I'll post a link in this video about a song I tried to do called, I believe it was I Am Xanoic, and I tried to do something I think that was called a cipher. Post in the comments if I'm wrong. Essentially a call out to other WoW rappers, and then wanting to start a back and forth sort of a thing. I've noticed a lot of those things were like sort of insulting, but I do it in a different way, and again I digress. So mainly with autism, being autistic is not a bad thing. That, for what I've personally seen, people with autism are incredibly brilliant. They are really, really smart, but one of the only bad things is that they miss social cues. In that, in other words, they can be shy. Maybe they don't know how to give a firm handshake, or this is what you do when you enter a room. You hold the door open for a lady. This is how you talk to somebody. Things like that. But the thing with this too is that if somebody with autism or with Asperger's is taught all these things, they can improve so much. They can improve and get as close to being a normal person as possible, because most of the time, this probably isn't the case all the time, but people with autism desperately want to fit in. They want to just be a normal person and try to integrate themselves, but usually they don't know how to do that. They don't know all of these rules. Imagine just being in a world where you don't know all the social cues, and because you don't know these things, it just frustrates you to no end, and then that leads you to act out a little bit, making you look weird. So again, it's not always the case all the time. Usually it is, usually it isn't, but most of the time, people with autism do want to try to fit in, and they usually don't because they don't know the rules. For me, growing up, I had a really fun childhood. I was taught well. I had friends as a kid, but then going from elementary school to junior high and high school, I had friends, but not the kind of I guess the friends that I'd hang out with after school. I only had 2 friends in particular that matched that description, but I didn't have any more friends of that kind. So I had friends that I'd hang out with at lunch, or maybe during a recess, or just during free time, but just not to the point of inviting them to come over to my house, like after school. So if you know somebody that does have autism, I'd encourage you to go and find them and make friends with them, because you never know who you could meet, who you could just get to know, and you never know who a friend could be. For me too, going into college for me was a little weird. I did just barely graduate from Utah Valley University. I'm not going to go into too much, but because of me going into college, it was weird because I had started my generals. I started my essentials that I would need, and then let's see here. Started my essentials, and then started to get to the point where I had counselors that tried to help me and show me the right path, but then I would keep going in many different directions, and I didn't know one set path to go on. So that led to me taking a lot more time than I needed to, and then I ended up finishing not in the best way, because I didn't have the skills that I needed. So I still graduated, but I'll get into that in another time. So essentially what I want to do right now is find out if there are any other autistic gamers out there, if there are any other just gamers in general that are autistic. I sort of know of 2 personalities right now on YouTube that are autistic. I know of the red shirt guy from BlizzCon a few years ago that called out the Blizzard developers about the whole something about Ironforge, and I forget. I'll link his channel in the description below, but there is a video that says he has Asperger's syndrome as well. There is a second one. I'm not exactly sure if he does have Asperger's. So if he doesn't, I'm sorry, but it's the Peanut Butter Gamer. I think he does, but if he doesn't, I'm sorry. But if anything, just a shout out to Peanut Butter Gamer. And 2 last things that I'll mention here before wrapping up. There are not a ton of books about the syndrome, but about autism, sorry. But I just wanted to share a few books about it. Got this one, Asperger's from the Inside Out. We've got this one, sorry about the light, Look Me in the Eye. And then one of my favorites, The Journal of Best Practices, A Memoir of Marriage, Asperger's Syndrome, and One Man's Quest to be a Better Husband. This book was pretty interesting read. For me, reading was a bit of a difficult because I get more stimulated up here with pictures than I do just words on text. But this guy here learned at a later age that he had Asperger's, and throughout the book he was trying to improve so much. He was trying to just be a better husband and everything, and he tries to explain it too. And I will say too, he does drop the F word a bit in this book, so just so you know. And also too, if any of you have any questions that you might want to ask me about autism or Asperger's syndrome, post in the comments below. And if I get enough questions, I'll come back at a later date and do a Q&A and see if we can't shed some light more on this condition. So with that, I'll wrap it up for right now. And I have been trying to release some more content on my page, and it's just been difficult for me to get everything out. My computer has not been cooperating with me. I did build it, but that was like back in 2008. So I will try to get some more content out and try to get some more stuff so I can get some more subscribers. So with that, I bid you all 23 skidoo.